Sanjay Judo, Sanjay Shana, Sanjo Bado, Dani, Capsuchi, Wadi Chinzoki, Besonaki, Dola Venture, Sanjay Duha, Sanjay Judo, Sanjay Shana, Sanjo Bado, Dani, Capsuchi, Wadi Chinzoki, Besonaki, Dola Venture, Sanjay Duha, Sanjay Judo, Sanjay Shana, Sanjo Bado, Dani, Capsuchi, Wadi Chinzoki, Besonaki, Dola Venture, Sanjay Duha. Lendegi toni ki jishina jidan le kiwa le dewa chunga da mikiwa le dunga yongya tsamda uwe nisu shinju gu toni ane iba nye tuwe chi yore da nangsi ki re ne ane le dinde chi chung dinde chi ki ane tenpu chi chung dinde yunggare du dinde chi le yunggare re ne uwe nisu shinju uwe to rikwe toni chotogu ma re di shimju chedang loga chi chene, ini sanji yi di sung sha pyo di la, di sung ya di namda re du re min du sini, sung kharang la ya shimju chedang chi ki, shenda chi ki tohne, ini shen goya chi cha de.
So now with respect to the law of karma, talking of the law of karma, well in general the fact that from a virtuous volitional action, happiness arises, whereas in the case of a non-virtuous volitional action, that gives rise to suffering. This is something with regard to this being in accordance with reality. It's something we can, through our own examination, through our own analysis, we can come to know and understand this. However, with regard to specific causes giving rise to specific results with regard to the strength of those results, greater results, smaller results, the exact time when a result ripens or when a result comes into existence. Now with regard to those situations, with regard to this, it's not possible to apply reasoning, which is called reasoning through the power of effect. So it's not possible to actually come to an understanding by merely applying analysis or examining or investigation here. Instead, the way we can come to understand those subtler aspects is by way of understanding that the teachings of the Buddha are indeceptible, that the teachings of the Buddha are pure. So it's independent on scripture, understanding the correctness or accurateness of the teachings, that we can come to an understanding of those subtler aspects.
Tadi naksegi sung ndu zan sirung sung wala tene ne luden ladami da luden sambu churtuye da sirung ki toksho da sirung chewa miki judan tizur cheba la tene ni sung ki luden chuye ani pake sirung sung wala tene dendru ki luden chuye da dina shinchige ani jimba tang wala tene da dendru ki 내가서 다 롱시에 롱시 표현서 주에 서로 공부할 때는 다 디게디 이 비다보다 이동 주에 어떤지 숨고다
숨고디
서발 때는
아니 나가듯이 방고지 주제가 되는 지 하다면서 고바
이제 출인 채워할 때는 방고지 얘는 집발 때는 롱시에
So of those, what we can understand is that in dependence on ethical conduct, the result of the ethical conduct is rebirth in the human or the celestial realm. Whereas on the opposite scale, engaging in negative ethical conduct, in other words, engaging in non-virtuous actions such as killing and so forth, that results in rebirth in the unfortunate state. Being reborn in one of the suffering realms. And then the result of generosity, practicing generosity, leads to resources, leads to possessions, leads to resources. And the practice of patience, engaging in patience or being patient, results in having an attractive physical appearance.
다 디지디 아니 추진비 달려기 터네 다 리딩비 달려 타고 그러더라 봐베 다 디나신 진법비 달려기 터네 먼저 놓치비 달려 연구로.
So then, also with regard to excellent moral conduct, that leads to an excellent physical body, an excellent existence, and similarly excellent generosity, a good quality or an excellent type of generosity leads to excellent resources or a good quality of resources, qualitative good resources.
다 책수 뒤샤바지라 가리어스는 되게 된다디. 진짜와이 레제바스 텐저 제군이도 주스 레 간제지 사바이네 제부디에 딘다와 주는 거에서 책이나로라 다 찾아서 동적자로다.
So in order to summarize everything that Geshe has explained just previously, well, in accordance to the way something is performed, the way something is given out, or something is acted upon, in accordance to that, or equal to that, one experiences the result. So that basically summarizes everything that was explained earlier.
디인데 소체 방나 체리고요에 아니 구마구에 방나 수수기 롱제드솔 아니 같이 다 초긴다 딘데 구마다 디모요에 다 로해 방바이나 아니 초기미 핀진 팀보요에다 딘데체 아니 고 진시에 방바이나 미신다기 수수로 고르다에 모요에 다 직주부 방바이나 아니 님부샤다 퇴 다 직주부 마퇴
So if one gives up, if one overcomes, that is, gives up killing, then the result of that is the experience of a long life, having a long life. If one gives up stealing, the result of that is that there's no danger that thieves take away one's possessions. If one gives up sexual misconduct, one gives up sexual misconduct, then the result will be that as a husband or a wife, one has a good relationship with one's partner, one is harmonious, one has a harmonious relationship with one's partner. If one gives up lying, one will not be deceived by others. And if one gives up harsh speech, one will hear pleasant words. People will speak to oneself in a pleasant fashion.
다 디지디 전에 아니 진짜와이 레지와 되는 대부분이었어. 다 수수기 교환하면 딘디레디 디버디 제메나 디티브 용미시시 그렇다. 단다 맞제나 로탄가 제싱벌레나 마호반다 용미시 다 교환에 디나 진짜기로.
So if there's an action, if something hasn't been accumulated in a previous life, one will not experience it. It's not possible to experience the result of an action. So if a certain action has not been accumulated, one will not experience the result. So therefore, if something previously has not been accumulated, in the future one will not experience the ripening result of that action. So that can be applied to negative actions, so positive and negative likewise.
진바타와라 때문에 롱주 연구를 했어. 디송도 다 뒤에 진짜와 일레제와 인자 진바타와라 때문에 세체마다 수수를 롱주 연구해지. 다 뒤에 진바타당이 기버지니 진바디 파게 땅가주도 전에 파조를 구시했던 집에 돈이 파게 디제마이나 세체만 남미디 용도 주 구시했던 집에 돈이 연구해지. 다 파게야 갈레 테스트 아니 제제 딘지 제바이나 제바 용에 용바지라 야 갈레 있잖아요. 연구해지. 어떤 딘지 컨테스트 제유네 다 코로나 강에 TV 카드들 뒤치 딱다들 뒤돌을 제스레도 뒤체와이나 제마야 소소 강에 TV 딱다다 뒤돌을 다들 그래죠. 내 참전은 거디마래 뭐 거디들지 그 뒤돌을 따고 말아 집어디 왔다 든지네 디 제단 가지지 제와이네 대단 팀에 인터뷰 그랬어. 디나 신신 수수랑기 다 툼나 수수랑기 제와이나 아니 제가 야 제부디 용디 미션은 또 규모거든 카드 용해제 왔다 디소소 차로.
So with regard to the way one engages in the practice of giving, so in general, it is the case that giving, if one gives, if one engages in the practice of giving or generosity, one will have resources. So in the next life, one will be able to have the resources that are needed. But then it's also, not only does one does experience the result of having resources, of having sufficient possessions. Moreover, it also dependent on how one gives, how one engages in the act of giving. In dependence on that, one experiences resources in an equivalent way. So, for instance, if one gives with respect, if one is generous towards another person but gives with respect, then in the future one will also receive, one will be given by others, in a way in which they show respect to oneself. Whereas on the other hand, if the other person has to work hard to get something from oneself, then in the future oneself will also have to work hard in order to get those resources. If one gives to another person at the appropriate time, in the sense of giving at a time when it's necessary, when it's needed, then likewise one will receive whatever one needs at the appropriate time. Whereas if on the other hand, one gives to someone at the time when they don't need and doesn't give to another person when they need it, when they need certain resources, well then again this will one will experience a similar result in the future. Or if one doesn't give directly but through another person, so instead of giving to someone directly, one gives something indirectly by way of another person, one will also receive not directly from the person who gives, but through another person. So therefore, the way one gives, the way one engages in generosity is then reflected in the result one experiences.
디지털 전에다 고마구의 방 집어마다나 아니 번절 레기래 더 레버디 템보요 뭐 불레기 맞다 더 레버디 스스로가 부지다야라요 야 집어당 아니 가서버렸다 집어당 야 고마에 저기 제 우리 제가 있나 여기 야 뒤에 타오게 좀 나티 쟁에 좀 보고다 뒤에 아 고마에 방 아니 집어당 제거이나 아니 번줄레 간레버 상원다 템부진 대디차로 진짜 진짜로 일den지로 된지도 니도 주셔야죠.
So likewise with regard to overcoming, that is giving up theft, so not engaging in any theft, but at the same time not being generous. So a person who's given up theft but is not generous, this person will have enough resources that they require for their own needs, but will not have any extra. But whatever they possess, it is stable in the sense that no one tries to take it away from them. Whereas if on the other hand there's a person who does not give up theft, but is generous at the same time, for that person resources come all the time, but they also keep losing them. So they experience resources, or they will get resources, and they will likewise lose them again. But then in the third case, if someone gives up theft and at the same time is generous, well, for that person a lot of resources will come to that person without losing them. So they'll be very stable in the sense that one won't lose them again. So here this reflects the quote that Geshe-la gave earlier on. So in the way, according to the way one engages in an action, so the way one performs these actions, in accordance to that or equal to that, one will experience the result.
다 디나시 마시타 마운다타 간제 디잉이 진짜와 일대지고 된다 지분이도 줄세야 디 지시디 나랑 리스트레인 기자 말해 되게 책도 쉐디에 참 사지 숨나도 요리 Origination.
So here with regard to this saying, so in accordance to how one performs an action, equal to that one will experience the result. So this explanation that Geshe-la gave, he didn't make this up. This is in accordance with the sutric explanation. So this is based on what is found in the sutra.
그래서는 때변의 지담이 미신다로 로고제치는 연수 미가부치는 수술에 로고징이라고 이내 정주선바지 탁지들을 땅에 쳐서 바탕샤나 직전에 교화들을 방과 차도로 차시버지로 하다 교화 뒤장장게 제시해와이나 아니 집바탕에 로지용이 차와 요마로 아니 구마군이 추가 차시기로 구마군 디하모 고에 바라로 주니 슈페지 야테스타 디네 시도나 아니 구마군이 추구 차로 왔다고 그래서 교화가 시키지 마시오지 세디 장장라는 렌트 공교육 말에 디나시에니 카시기야 지된 감치가 직성당되다 정부린 디치부 직성당 디성당되는 아니 렌트 남셔되기 말에 정부린 디나시 칸되었다 제가 디치부 성당되는 아니 딜레요다 베나 가르시오레다 딩산 미드스 쳬바토르토르 두고도스 그와 정디장에 다 디네 마르마르토르 미마르마르토르 두스 제가 디디 성지데 그래서 정부린 디바도 통과와 그래서 연지기 시 교화가 지지 정부는 니장장 많이 버지 지된 감시다 뭐요지 더 전에 맞아요 더 전에 내래 다들이 두말
So with regard to karma, with regard to the law of karma, having given the explanation as previously set forth, so here actually with regard to this law of cause and effect, it's very difficult to really understand it, to really grasp this law without an understanding of past and future lives. Because of course it is possible that just within your lifetime one helps another person, and as a result of that another person helps oneself. So it is possible that upon helping someone there is some positive result ripening, or the positive result will experience a positive result. However, in the case of bodhisattvas, for instance, so they may give up everything, they may give up all their possessions in this lifetime only to be a benefit to other sentient beings, and may live like a beggar without in this lifetime experiencing the result of that type of generosity. So likewise you may observe a thief, someone who steals a lot of goods, who steals a lot of money, and gets, as a result of that, gets very rich in this lifetime, and then 10 years later they die. But before their death they were able to experience the richness of experiencing the result of having this type of money, being rich. So therefore it doesn't mean that this person has to experience the result of theft in this lifetime. So this means that only within one's lifetime, one only considers one lifetime, the understanding of karma is not complete. And some people so we should also consider that there are other worlds, that there's not just this world, but there are worlds similar to ours in other places that are similar to ours. So when people say, oh, nowadays people's behavior gets worse and worse, well, first of all, there are more people in this world, and they also just consider the people in this world. So there are other worlds, of course, too, other existences which are very similar. So in that way, one should consider those two, and consider past and future lives, and thus not being narrow-minded in the sense being open-minded to different possibilities, different lifetimes, different worlds. And in that way, one can then get a good understanding of the law of karma, or a complete understanding of the law of karma.
디제도 아니 다 이제 저도 지dan 시디 도스래 이내 뒤에 군노도 되었다 군노 펜셈 유비 토네 아니 기제시나 파조들다 내심 빵뽕데 있음 같이 펜셈을 넣는 뒤다 펜셈이 토네 제나 교학이 제시를 마도 디 매버지네 아니 디체바이나 베나타 다 미세나 맞정하는 저거를 선도 대점지기 톤에 다 미세야 거에 디디나 타버도 펜세 메비 톤이나 총안 다보도 그 뒤에 제제하러 이면이가 제대로다 디침바진 좀내 말마로다 디 교학에 사고 기라 아니 디치도 전에 지상 파기 파도스 때버점기 나베때버점기 침바라고 말해 아니 소치기메 나버점기 소지뽕마스 라이문다 다 펜싱기 톤에 아니 디기지시 온데 아니 교화디 내용으로.
So likewise, when we talk about the law of karma, the law of cause and effect, here, so from the point of view of not just the action itself, but what is also important is the motivation, the intention, or the motivation that precedes one's action, that motivates one's action. So, for instance, if an action is accumulated out of the attitude that wishes to benefit others, so directed at the other person, if directed at the other person, one engages in an action that is motivated by the wish to benefit the other person, then it's a virtuous action. But if, on the other hand, one gives up killing, for instance, not in order to benefit others, but because one is worried, one is concerned that one will be imprisoned as a result of killing, if that is the only motivation why one gives up killing, this in itself is not, so here in the case of refraining from killing for that reason, that is not considered to be a positive action. Likewise, an owner of a prison, for instance, or a prison ward, they give to the prisoners, but that is not considered to be generosity, because again, the motivation here is not one of wanting to give, but it's just on a daily basis they just have to give things to the different prisoners. So even though they give something with their own hands, if the right kind of motivation is missing, it doesn't necessarily become a positive action. So in that sense, therefore, also giving up theft in the same way, if you give up theft, only because due to concern, the only reason for giving up theft is concern that one will be imprisoned, then that will not make it a positive action. So in that sense, one needs a specific positive motivation to make the action positive.
자, 디 인디자네 펜셈디 자치를 치니 다 지당 지기 펜셈 남중어 용다 펜셈 대성기 돈이 디지디 다 살게 미기류딘게 주름숨 다 타이 번저 미 번저 디차더로 다 델레게니 심지 탐제라 다 펜비셈게 전미지 전주생기 토네 아니 주름숨 뒤자네 디기 인선지 구주 주차더다 제자다 디나신지기다 넉세기 아니 전미지 전주생기 토네 소주 방용디 예산제 전에 조회요 말我希望maybe 아니 구토비다 교를 도셔고 전인지 전주생기 심이 토네 소주 방비 제부들라 다산제 자리 조회요 말 세죠와 다 치매도 지고 디 치와미비 꾸니비 아니 구수요와 어딘지 토비 교제 아니 디기 토네 전미 전주생기 토네 다 구마바야다 진바다야나 뒤쪽이 다 다신 그 없어서 소신도 어디서 토비 교제 어디나 신지게 아니 점이지 전주생기 군에 나네 아니 직수보다 디제디기 아니 선지 송디베 퇴바 점지 라마메바 셈 초조해지 디파 니에기 다 주는 몸에메 바 딘지기 송니 보요에 송 직수 어다 디나 신지게 어다기 코레네가 수셰데 지어로 왔다 개와디도 디치비 제부셰데 디 전주생기 신의 대용도 다디 제부디 표소소 시부지간 내용도 다 선제사이 디 차도 고다 다 송다 아니 로제다 디게 디 차도
So therefore, here in the kind of beneficial, the attitude to benefit others, there are different measures of that. So there can be a vast kind of attitude, and there can be a less vast. So if we just have if there's just the wish to benefit others, if there's an ordinary wish to benefit others, that may result in rebirth in the human or in the celestial realms, or having the possessions, having human and celestial resources. However, if one's motivation to benefit others or one's wish to benefit others is such that it includes all sentient beings, it is focused on all sentient beings, so love and compassion that focuses on all sentient beings, that kind of attitude to benefit others will have great results, much greater results. So for instance, if out of this the wish to benefit all sentient beings, so love and compassion focusing on all sentient beings, if through this attitude or motivated by this attitude one engages in the practice of ethical conduct or morality, then that will result in the kaya or the body of a Buddha. Then with regard to giving up killing, well, that again with the same motivation to benefit all sentient beings with great love, great compassion, so motivated by those two states, then as a result, motivated by those two, if one gives up killing, it will not be the body of the Buddha, the one that passes into parinirvana, but rather into the Vajra body of the Buddha that is immortal. So it will not give rise to the body that is mortal, but to the body that is immortal. And then from the point of view of giving up stealing, again the same motivation that focuses on all sentient beings, so the wish to benefit all sentient beings, one gives up stealing, one will acquire all the resources, all the necessary resources in the different Buddha fields, in the different pure realms. And then with regard to giving up harsh speech, then once one has become enlightened, again with the same motivation, focusing on all sentient beings, so motivated by great love, by great compassion, if one gives up harsh speech, then one's speech, when one gives teachings to others as an enlightened being, so other people, just by merely hearing one's voice, one's mind is taken over by inspiration and so forth. So in that way, so therefore, if one in the samsaric existence, if one engages in virtue, with regard to in virtuous actions, so samsaric, even if one is within samsara, one engages in virtue that is conjoined with or that is affected by bodhicitta, then the result will be extremely vast. It will basically lead to the body, the speech, and the resources of a Buddha, of a fully enlightened Buddha.
다 디제드잖아요. 아니 자주 생각지기 다 상기되잖아요. 구분소 처바, 송분소 처바, 번조분소 처바 되게디 요래치도 아니 진바타 추르송세지디 다 자주 생각디 마수부야고 싶고도 마 번조 때세디 기부 고고도 대화진세에서는 기부든지 고고도 되나 디되샤로 다만은 가르레스나 람덴도 딘디 고고도 삼 자와니니 요말 자주 생각야슬레서디 다만은 가르레스나 신덴도 신된 제고디 신된 원에디 가르레스나 파게 파주거든 다 동만이 땐제 아니 유고 세탑지 고안의 타답지 고와 다디 제바라 아니 돈이디 넘서 시에바다 고쳐져제 요마 디제디 딜라 디제바라 내다 아니 수수 시에바다 도나제지 고디 당부추다 미디추 딩버지에지 고로 대화지 타고로 지서 딜라 아니 구표서 처바 유비 토네 제발레 연구하래 아니 번저기 토네 제발레 연구하래 다 정등기 편바라 다딜라 정등기 가시 민들이 다이도 정등기 편바다 편도다 니등기 편도스 니등기 편도스디 다 동반이다 미다바다 그래서 때제 그 몸에 버스네 타바다 다지 제발 그에디 다 편도 원에디지 이네 편도 원에디 제바다 남서 제설 알고 와봐라 지금 내가 어느 과랑이 편도를 제얘기 번저 롱제를 다 디기디 때제 아니 디토네 편도치네 아니 신의 파티제 장세에 들어와 내가 편도 디토네 아니 파 편도 원에들은 파티제 정등이 편도스 어 디기치도 아니 디 두고다 공부선 소바다 번저다 디기 분선 소바 고고도스 디 용해치도 아니 수림 숨 짐바당 두스레
So, for instance, bodhisattvas. So, once they become enlightened, they will receive, or they will have an excellent body, excellent speech, excellent resources, and so forth. So, in order to receive those as an enlightened being, they engage in the practice of generosity. They engage in the practice of morality or ethical conduct, and so forth. So it's not that they have the wish to obtain those phenomena, those positive body, excellent body, etc. So obtain those things for their own benefit, because if it were just for their own benefit, they would be motivated by desire or by afflicted desire. But here, it's for the benefit of others. They wish for those phenomena, they aspire to obtain those phenomena in order to be a benefit to others. So actually, what is directly beneficial from the point of view of benefiting others, what is directly beneficial for others is the understanding of emptiness. So teaching emptiness, teaching the methods to overcoming afflictions, teaching the methods to overcoming samsara. This is what's directly beneficial to disciples. However, it's not the case that disciples right away understand those ideas, that they right away understand emptiness, that they right away understand the methods to overcoming afflictions, and so forth. So first, Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, so they need to attract sentient beings. They need to make a connection with sentient beings and attract them. And what helps them is an attractive body. So for instance, for a Buddha to attract sentient beings, he needs an attractive kaya, or an attractive body, or resources and so forth that pull sentient beings in, so that then the Buddhas can help them, can teach them what is necessary. So in that way we talk about benefit that is merely a temporary kind of benefit, and then we talk about a certain benefit. So from the point of view of a kind of just temporary, merely temporary benefit, and a benefit that is certain, a certain kind of benefit, or a direct benefit, if you like. So in that sense, the temporary benefit is, as just mentioned, these objects that attract sentient beings, an attractive body, attractive speech, possessions, and so forth. So they do not benefit sentient beings immediately or directly, but by pulling them in, by pulling them closer to a Buddha, then the Buddha is able to give the actual teachings, the teachings that are directly beneficial. So give the benefit that is directly beneficial. He's able to give that. So in that way, Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, the direct, in order to be able to give this direct benefit, in order to be able to give that certain benefit that is directly beneficial, they first provide a benefit that is merely temporary, that attracts disciples. And for that, therefore, Bodhisattvas on the path, they practice, in order to achieve this attractive body, speech, and so forth, they engage in the practice of generosity, they engage in the practice of ethical conduct. So the words that Vishnu used as here, the benefit that is interpretative and the benefit that is definite. So it's very difficult to translate, but a definitive benefit and interpretative benefit.
That chema dedu yunge ki saben ki chedi ledi ki jeshe yonde dile ta chilo ki saben pele yobana shin ta saben chunjun chile ta tebu mambu yobana shin nanglo ki dile le chile tene tebu cha chimbu yonde yechi di sungyu yore ta di shingdo la chane hagu do kushu ki saben chunjun dile tene kushu shingdo je yonde ta shingdo chile kushu sumja shibja diye ta lo chema dili china peje ta 티 무카시 다 시거로 다 베잖아는 무슨 소리인데 나야 좋다세 신들 잘해요 나야 좋다세 신들 잘고에 가르치나 신들 도스케 이 열가지 땅 열가네 양 자와 맞수무다 양 봐봐 또 지금 야채 왜지 봐 신동 찍다 기시 개매 맞지는 배 할래비 자친 차트여지 디르 배샤리 무슨 음징 신동의 전에 뒤뒤도
So with regard to the result, so the resultant state then So this is similar here with regard to the type of result one experiences. This is similar to like an external seed. When you have an external seed that is only a tiny little seed, a small seed, it may result in many different fruits. It may ripen into many fruits. So if you have, for instance, an apple tree. So you have this one small seed that gives rise to an apple tree that holds many fruits. So 300 or 400 fruits. Or even more, like next year they have even more, you have again 300, 400 fruits. So in that way, tens of thousands of fruits this particular tree may ripen into. So likewise with regard to one karmic cause, one karmic seed or one karmic action may have many different, many vast different results. So usually the Tibetans as an example or an analogy for the fact that one karmic seed can ripen as having many different effects. Well, this is like a nayat tree. So I don't know how to translate this into English, but it's a specific type of nayat tree, which is such that as it grows, then one of its branches, then when it kind of grows into the ground, it leads again to a new tree. So in that way, one tree starts multiplying. So one tree may multiply into many different trees. So this is the example that is usually given in the scriptures. But you can also just use the apple tree. It works in the same way that one tiny seed has many different fruitional results.
然后再长出来那个一些其他枝芽，那这些枝芽又会延展出去，然后又会往地下延伸，然后生根等等。所以一棵树它可以蔓延到非常广大的一个范围，然后长出非常多的那个枝芽。那经书当中是用这个例子来说明一颗小小的种子，就是一些小小的叶，它最终可以结得非常丰富圆满的结果。
제상 땅에 라 렌제 남샤 딘디지 땅에 번이 버스 되는 예번이 수는 따디 넘버 참행기 더 투몽기 디차도라 따 기시 되는 거는 임바이나 따 가르차도라 뒤다대버도 따 교왕아마 있는 체디는 뒤다대버도 따 미다 사이 유딘 가지 토여버 디차마 아니 심지는 내세방 치름숭 엔탑저래도 따 번저 농지 가지 여바 참아 말하는 신다라 집바당의 용조래도 다 디나 신치기 수수 강에 처리 로봇 징이 라기도나 디참마 나를 신다라 수수기 로봇 징이 되고 차되기도 다 소소를 이나다 미신다를 이나다 다 디기 컨디지를 주고 줘봐 이네 디참마 나를 다 레기와 제수디 밖에 약주 주고 라타 신다진 난다 나를 신나 배워 제발 때 중샤 유차다 차고도
So first we need to obtain as a certainty, we need to ascertain an actual understanding of the law of karma. So the law of karma is something that is the same for all Buddhists. So there's no difference. It is common to all Buddhists, this understanding of the law of karma or that concept of the law of karma. So until now, whenever we experienced, we had celestial rebirth, we had human rebirth. So all these different fortunate rebirths that are, or happy kind of rebirths that are associated with happiness, they are the result of engaging in ethical conduct. Likewise, whatever possessions we have, whatever resources we have, they are the result of previously engaging in the practice of generosity, being generous. And also receiving help when we need help, that when we receive help from others, this is the result of having previously helped other people in the same way. So whether it is oneself or it is with regard to others. So here, any kind of happiness, any kind of well-being and happiness is a result of karma. Or to put it in different words, any kind of happiness oneself and others experience, they are the result of cherishing others or having an attitude that wishes to benefit others.
다 배나 추리마 숨니 뒤돌리게 에 경험을 침부 땅바 인상 추부차 뒤주고 그게 아리를 지요래라기다 키지 그게 요보 민가 주요래세 키디 민도라 저럴 봄 가지 있는 지요래세 진다디 정대 키디 민도라 샤레스 제가 디저트 경험을 추리마 숨에 키리게 이제 지금만 못하면 뒤에 인상 다 거랑을 요 주게다다 사회도 투게다 디저트다다지 되래.
So, for instance, it may be possible that someone doesn't abide in an ethical conduct, so one engages in immoral behavior, and as a result of that, one is reborn in the lower realm. But as a result of having practiced generosity previously, one may be very rich, one might have a lot of resources. So, for instance, Geshe-la says there's a dog in the West who has 5 or 6 servants and has a lot of money to his name. To its name, so it's like hundreds and thousands of dollars to its name. So the owner of this dog, when the owner passed away, the dog inherited everything that the owner owned previously. So you have these really rich dogs. So they have all the food that they need, they have servants, they have all the drink, they have every comfort necessary, but they're still an animal. So that is the result of not practicing morality, but engaging in or being generous, so to engaging in negativities, but at the same time being generous.
저 대인데 다 dom자용데 타나 든조지래 기부 용해디 나 신변진 중샤 미신다 참마 기부 용해디 나 신변진 중샤 산지 유구 송푼소 처부 용해디 신변진 용샤 나랑기 단다고도 디기 용해디 신변진 용샤 제상 신변진의 만의 종으로 그래서는 기질 가르쳐요.
So in short, or in summary, any animal that experiences fortune, any animal that experiences or has positive experiences, is the result of this animal previously engaging in actions that benefit others. For us, anything positive as humans that happens to humans, in the same way, whatever positive happens to us is the result of benefiting others. Then the excellent body, speech, and mind of a Buddha, they are the results of working for the benefit of others. So in other words, whatever happiness there is, whatever well-being, whatever happiness, whatever positive or pleasant experience there is, it is the result of benefiting others. So how can one say that benefiting other leads to disadvantages? How can one say that this doesn't lead to, that this is not something advantageous, or no, this is not something that holds great advantage?
제선다 신변제가 무슨 제가 주디 담보 어지지에는 무슨 제가 주디 뒤에는 말 종라기도 셈디 까대기도 다디 렌젤 이마시비진 용어라마도 렌젤 남샤데 뭐네이나 다디 종라 미시르다 신변제니 종라 미시버다 다른 딜럽디잖아 신변제시 신변이 셈베제가 나오다요 셈디 신변이 셈메니 제나 딜레 종라시로 신변셈랑기 토리 신변제가 있는 종라 미시버다 렌젤 뭐네이나.
So here, when benefiting others, when there's directly the opportunity to benefit others, then there's our attitude. Oh, there will be some disadvantage, some personal disadvantage if I benefit this person. So that prevents us, when the opportunity presents itself, that prevents us from actually working for the benefit of others. So this shows that we do not have sufficient faith in the law of karma. So it's actually impossible. It's impossible that one will have any disadvantage from benefiting others. Of course, Geshe-la says here we're not talking about merely benefiting others, but the mind that wishes to benefit others. Because, of course, if one just benefits others without the attitude wanting to do so, there may be some disadvantage. But here, when we have the attitude that wishes to benefit others, that wishes to be of benefit to others, so that awareness can never hold any disadvantage.
그래서 딩문에는 신변 맞에는 경험을 자도다. 수수지부 베지테이션은 저도다. 제가 요예요 말.
So therefore, if this is really the case, then not working for the benefit of others, not benefiting others, that will hold a disadvantage. That will lead to a disadvantage to oneself. So it's not that the benefiting others is not does not hold a disadvantage, does not lead to a disadvantage. It is refraining from benefiting others. Likewise, there's a teaching by the Buddha, which is called the Sutra, which teaches positive and negative karma.
지선다 레디 또 체중 슈 체중 차야디 레 사사기 딜레 쳐버려요. 사긴 군롱기에 쳐버려요. 근데 남샤모 부지 예배 나로네 사사기 통에 또 체중 송는데 디나로라 가지 송여레세나 아니 딘로지라 아니 짐바당 바이나 디테부디 겨주 다 팅상이나 배샤요 인자 배샤의 지점이 셰바이나 딘로지라 아니 고무지 테바이나 짐반남이라도 고무자리 뭐다 겨줄기지시리 아니 되쳔바스 책딘데 비주지샤 되쳔바스는 디면로 되멈치모 유딩이 디를 쓰기메로 같이 책디 되쳔바스 비주지샤 되쳔바지도 짐바당바이나 아니 남인디 똥 아니 수중 남다 송행이 결혼질의 디지바이나 남인디 티스 어떠시야 지도아 다 디지온데 디나로네 다 파마다 정주센바다 네바다 네바강에 체딩이나 딘딜라 아니 짐바당바이나 짐바당바이나 로바체바이나 가리체바이나 남인딜라 체베스 딘디소요 파마 네바 정주센바.
So in this specific sutra, it talks about the strength of a karmic action. So the strength, like being stronger, being less strong, depending on the person who accumulates the action, depending on the motivation, but also depending on the recipient of the action, depending on the person at which the action is directed. So here it explains that if, for instance, one practices generosity directed at an animal, if one gives to an animal, then whatever one gives is multiplied by 100. So nowadays we talk about it from the point of view of money. So if you give 1 rupee to an animal, the result will be 100 rupees. So it's multiplied by 100. If you give something to a person who's very needy or very greedy, someone who's very greedy, in other words, who wants a lot, then if you give 1 rupee, or whatever you give is multiplied by 1,000. So 1 rupee would lead to 1,000 rupees as a result for the person giving. In the case of a bhikkhu, of a fully ordained monk, who keeps his vows purely, who engages in pure moral conduct, the result is multiplied 10,000-fold. And in the case of one's parents, one's father and mother, one's parents, in the case of bodhisattvas, and the case of sick people who encounter a lot of problems or have a lot of problems, it is said that practicing generosity directed at them or helping them, the result is limitless.
예치도 베제타나 말 고무고주 고구 좋아라다. 하다는 고자라. 다 대신바지는 마테나 똥똥라래. 다 네바지는 마테나 다 카미는 좋아라다. 다 디디섬나원이 인지기다. 다야 지금 마사지 마체나 야 신명무튼 제도 말아. 다 디기래마도 신다. 다 간데스 스스비스 당 배울 당 투고 거라. 다양 디베제 당제 마음은요 딜이 망지 힘에 주변 치도 다 베제 당 거를 담아도 제 방해를 다 스스 베제 당나 이 지문의 링이지.
So and we really have faith in this, if you really believe in the way in which giving can multiply, well, actually, how could I actually end up keeping a rupee for myself instead of giving it maybe to an animal, to some being from the animal realm? Because I suffer the disadvantage of 99 paisa. So 99 rupees. Sorry. So 1 rupee, because of not giving it to others, actually the disadvantage I suffer, I'm not getting the result in 100 rupees, and so therefore I suffer 99 rupees loss in profit. And so the same is true if I don't give to others in the sense of the greedy person. Then if I keep that 1 rupee to myself, I make the equivalent loss. So therefore there's only disadvantage if one doesn't give to others. Of course, there's a sense one needs some money, one needs some kind of money for oneself in order to be able to efficiently work for the benefit of others. To have some kind of basically some money that one keeps in order to then be able to work effectively for others, so to use it for others. But actually, if one uses it just for oneself, the result will be one's own disadvantage. One will not have any, one will not reap any benefit, basically, or there will be incredible loss. So only if one uses the money to be of greater benefit, even greater benefit than now in the future, it makes sense to keep the money and to use it for oneself. But other than that, it will be one's personal loss. Capital, sorry, the word was capital. So one should keep some capital to benefit others.
아니 추전에 렌제 남샤들 녀바 마냐나 탑기 차네 셰디교 참말로 다 책정간 도샤마도 심팅니 데도 말. 진 semnanglo 이치 운내지 레바이나 남샤 균댕기 제당 뭐 뭐지를 균기 제당에 막 이미 차도서로 라신.
So if one doesn't have, generate actual faith in this, if one doesn't generate actual belief in what has just been explained, in particular here with regard to the law of karma, then there will not be a real taste for the Dharma, in particular with respect to the method aspect, the method side of Buddhism. From the point of view of the wisdom side, so if one doesn't obtain ascertainment with regard to emptiness, in other words, if one doesn't really understand emptiness, then there won't be a comprehension of liberation, omniscience, and so forth. So there be one will lack with regard to the Buddhist understanding that pertains to the wisdom side. So whatever one does will therefore only be mere words. So anything that connects to the wisdom aspect of Buddhism will be merely words. There will not be any kind of feeling from the depth of one's heart. And then with regard to the law of karma, likewise, if one doesn't really understand this, if there's no real belief in that, one is lacking from the point of view of the method aspect. And again, one's practice will be mere word, it will be merely verbal. One will not have a sense of the Dharma, one will not act out of the depth of one's heart. But if there is that understanding, if there's a real feeling with regard to the method aspect, the method and wisdom, so with regard to the aspect of Buddhism, so not just verbal, but when has a real feeling for those practices, then one's behavior will not be in accordance to ordinary kind of behavior. One will no longer engage in ordinary behavior. This will be lost. This will be one will overcome that kind of behavior.
제가 렌제 남샤들 원에이나 먼저 다 동이 규마치를 기재셔져 있네. 다 공문직 파트에도 전에 아니 코랑이 두시실라기도 다 남주이나 원에지는 파 두시실라고 그러. 그래서는 파 공문직 때로 수동다 직대로 그러. 다 교하셔. 그치다 파 두시실라고 해야지. 제가 대경에라 진반당도 규회톤의 땅세에 디 경쟁을 내 맞춰고 구셔던 팀의 톤의 땅세에 김전에 맞춰기도. 지금 뒤념내 제용데 나마뭐 자갈라 상계시주비가래 개부친구도 저기 진반당도 전에 롱인 수 레용도 다 배티컬한테 지금한테 강보 취비 체진이 강보래야 추대 스토어 다 강보 취 90지 비기자 엔디체라 아니 신의 파기 둘로이나 사이나 두 스테 지거르스 90지 된 맞아 롱인
So if one really has an understanding of understanding of the law of karma, then the beggar responds by saying thank you. This is kind of what one expects, that there's this kind of response, usually saying thank you. But actually, one should say thank you to the beggar, because giving 1 rupees, one will actually, as a result, get back 1,000 rupees. So this is good reason to actually thank the beggar for being able to give to this beggar. And this also explains, this is also the logical reason for why we should be respectful when we engage in the practice of giving. When we engage in generosity, when we engage in giving, we should be respectful towards the other person, keeping in mind the fact that there's personal benefit for us too. And so this is also reflected in a custom at the time of the Buddha, when the Buddha was around. At that time, when different kings would practice would engage in the practice of generosity, they would call the beggars together. They would call them together and representing washing their feet. They didn't actually wash their feet, but what the action they engaged in represented washing of the feet. They would scatter some water over their feet, kind of throw some water over their feet, which was symbolic for washing their feet out of gratitude that they were given the opportunity to practice generosity. And after having done so, they would then distribute whatever they gave to those beggars, so clothing, food, etc.
파만 경고 내가 딘딜다 파다도 지용도 다는 민의 신체는 다다바도 파면 말 같은 경래 다다다 파만 경고 차 내가 차디 다 파로 같이 나오러다 문다 렌제이 토는 시와이나 다다바도 로바지 셰유디 끼와지 그래 다 파만 경고 내가 차는 파로가 야고 채원이 끼워 먹부기 다돼 디지 조용 거로 디지 대상에 같이 채로 조샤는데 다 파만 경고 다 내바다 드리면 아버지 로고 제사 말하나 용식을 하다. 또 렌제이 토는 시와이나.
So likewise with one's elderly parents, so helping one's elderly parents when they're sick, when they're elderly. So actually now, previously when we were younger, our parents helped us and were very kind with regard to helping us. So now it's up to us to repay their kindness and to help them, to assist them. And from the point of view of karma, from the point of view of the law of karma, well, the benefit we received in this lifetime from our parents is nothing in comparison to the benefit we reap by benefiting our parents. By helping our parents, we will experience positive results that is manifold in the future, that is multiplied. So the benefit that we give out to our parents is much greater. The benefit we give to our parents will result in a karmic resultant state that is much greater than the benefit our parents are giving us when we were little. So from that point of view, we're very fortunate. We're very fortunate. They're even kinder to us than as when they're old and sick, giving us the opportunity for us to serve them and to work for them. That is even kinder than them looking after us when we were little. So in that sense, if we don't have old parents, if we don't have parents who are old and are sick, we're actually having a loss, we're experiencing a loss here, because we miss out on the opportunity to accumulate such positive karma.
Any young Totinji Mobono, Contra Sawa in the Gyom Musabi Kiva Jom Dugres. Do you design Super Shuchimbo Jugomba in the Gyom Musabi Tibotaju? That is rebirth Kanchi came into Tota Digital Digo. That Dimonina, that Midigi Susul and Yadaji Town, the teacher Batigi, that Gogot Disunje, Susi Subom Shawaina, till the Tene, Gyom Mbuta pay to Menueki, the Tiboti Taju, this and to New Charter. 동네충중디 디지디자네 다 암지도 차도 다 암지 샤주지 제 카드지 자 야나마 가르치기 있는 신다파시는 머스 슈치모 징에도 제수 부교가 있는데 갈래도 강들 강에 댄스 때 강에 침부지며 봤어요. 디나 신수술은 내게 등에디기 수수의 제당지 신바이나 디 강에 충중지 때 강에 침부지며 봐 차서디 아니다 당도 드시 제당들이 차르다 뭐내다 수수기 디 제당 렌지 이슈 인식이 제당이나
So, for instance, in the case of patience, it is explained in many of the sutras and many of the treatises. They're very clear on the fact that when engaging in the practice of patience, that practice, that activity or that action will lead to the purification of negative actions. So the logical reason for that is that if we become angry, if we engage in the opposite practice of patience, in other words, getting angry, so it's very clear that anger, it's very clearly explained that anger destroys a lot of virtuous actions. So logically, therefore, it makes sense that by engaging in the practice of patience, that purifies a lot of negative karma, or a lot of negative actions accumulated in the past. So this is what is clearly explained in the sutras and in the treatises. But anyhow, if that is true, if that is the case, well then if someone harms us, if someone abuses us, then this person gives us the opportunity to be patient. And in dependence on that practice of patience or engaging or being patient in that moment, we will be able to purify a lot of negative karma, a lot of non-virtue. So we are able to avert a lot of future suffering, which is similar to a doctor, for instance. When there's a doctor and they give us a surgery, they give us injections, give us a massage. So for someone who's physically in a bad shape, a massage may actually be very difficult, maybe something very difficult to bear. But although there's a small problem there, this massage is beneficial from the point of view of later on averting a lot of problems and helping the person to get better. So similarly here, even though one experiences a small problem, in other words the abuse, this is just a minor problem because that abuse actually is enabling one to practicing patience. Therefore, one will not experience a lot of future suffering as a result of that, since that purifies a lot of non-virtues. So this means thus that one should say thank you when one gets abused. Should thank the abuser.
아니, 근데 준준하는 책이요. 그래서 콜로규비 대기 톱스네 다 같이 도도 가르세나 서버금비 제부들라 아니 콜로규비 제부터 그랬어야지. 당이 더 나는 것이 제마서. 이내 밖에 야가 계획이 모두 리베기 좀어트베기 리드즈 창마산지 숨나나 마통나 그말. 제산다 상기 숨나나 유지리 제마서. 강들이야 서버 공부할 때는 다 전부링 잡고 된대로 왕이 아니 계획이 다 번줄 터그리스 표수적 터그리 디지 터그리스 디송 지산다 딘디 이치 유바이나 대기라고나 신지 수수기 다 강과다 대셔도 찾아 처와 있는 의도 찾아 처와 있네 시다 뭐 보여봐라다 미규마이나 디 처지 아니 디 고급 디순에서 공샤바이나 수 가리테요래 전부링다 다왕 콜로지 지부기 다 먼저 땡에 차도로 다 뒤에야 뒤지체래.
So it says, for instance, in Shantideva's Bodhisattva way of life, it says that as a result of patience, one will reap the effect or will become a universal monarch. So one will achieve the state of a universal monarch. So Geshe-la says he hasn't seen that explanation in any of the sutras, but usually in the Indian treatises, if anything is mentioned here, if anything that they establish in the treatises by way of applying logical reasons through the power of the fact, then there must be somewhere in the sutras. They do not establish anything without having a source text in the sutra. So it must be somewhere in the sutra. So anyway, with regard to practicing patience, or the resultant state of the practice of patience is rebirth as a universal monarch, which means one has incredible riches and incredible power, etc. So then, if in this lifetime, what one possesses, so as a human being, what one possesses is in comparison to such a universal monarch is relatively little. And if someone comes to one's house, takes away one's possessions, so if then as a result of that one practices patience, then as a result of this, so although one loses very little actually in relation to the possessions of a universal monarch, as a result of that one will be reborn as a universal monarch and have the possessions that belong to such a monarch. So in that way, again, if someone steals one's possession, if one takes away one's house, etc., one should thank the person. One should thank the thief.
다 진나신 가장 됐을라요래 다 산지에 주조 냠린 조지에 점닝지레시 점닝지기 매바이나 심지 탐제를 미비데 심지 탐제를 미비다 전부다 닌지지 매바이나 아니 심지 탐지기 치도 아니 깔레게 다 심디 요마로 그게 비즈니스 얘기 디메디 머신에 찍다는 점닝지면은 심해 지게 말해 아니 기시 제가 저거 이내 다 테스트 제가 이내 점닝지 춘준지기 토는 제가 이내 심지 탐지를 미비 전부다 닌지되면은 강제샤바디 산지비 교를 조금이도 그게 산지비 교를 좀 어쩌디 가살라바나시 점닝지기 심마싱이 토네 디차로로
Likewise, as Geshe-la explained earlier, when we talk about the cause for enlightenment, so the cause for enlightenment, the main cause for enlightenment is love and compassion. Love and compassion that focuses on all sentient beings, or that love and compassion that is directed at all sentient beings. If one doesn't have that kind of love and compassion focusing on all sentient beings, one will not, well, first of all, one will not work as hard. One will not exert oneself to the same degree as one would if one had that kind of love and compassion. And also if one had just a little love and compassion, then without focusing on all sentient beings, it would not become a cause for Buddhahood. It would not be a cause that gives rise to the state of a Buddha. So therefore, as explained earlier, whether one becomes a Buddha, whether one's practice takes one to enlightenment, depends on whether or not one's practice is conjoined with this particular love and compassion focusing on all sentient beings.
다치다야 상계단 되는게 제시도 상계세의 문진디 로를 샤고에 제차되어 디지디다 알레 상계세의 태바침이 쉬는 문진치다 가지기도 제라마와도 되게 선진 문진 가지기도 디남샤지 알레는 문에 예메세의 쇼를 기지시 지당 문진치다 가지기도 디지 로를 샤고에 제차되어 아니 신의 로를 직샤서위 제라 디문에 레 마레세의 디 남제 루니버기 리베토네 다 다지지
So then in general, so with regard to the Buddha, with regard to the state of a Buddha, well, first of all, we need to understand that Buddhahood is possible. It's possible to be a Buddha. So here we should take into consideration the Mahayana's teachings on with regard to the descriptions of the Buddha. And likewise take the descriptions from the point of view of the Vaibhashika and the Sautrantika school. So how do they identify a Buddha? How do they describe a Buddha? So first of all, does Buddhahood exist or not? Is there a Buddha or not? And how do they identify a Buddha? And so once one has understood that, then once there's something that arises through the awareness, in order to really investigate it, really get an understanding, one should take the second chapter of Dharmakirti's Brahmanabhatika and apply the reasons that are presented there with regard to establishing the state of a Buddha, establishing Buddhahood.
당가르 신사바다 마음반의 신발 주어라 쌈니다 계제 시샤와이나 아니 제자 닝지기 심지 탐지 두뇌의 코아를 탈 계제 시용도 자네 코아세 토마메로죠 다 동해 배 tingni jidu kyuni yi le je mi ta mi de je nyawa yi de kaze de tindro le je kanje tindigi ta tunge thoma me dingi di thamchi yi zawa tanzin le tu tanzin me ba so ya thapshe di ta dingshi namsha shin bi thone tomani shin bi thone me ba so ma thuna ta due ta ja tong ti bum ta taji yoro jine jig digor ta kyuni me dingi ji bezin ji chema thuna namsha dindi she ni jisan ta simje thamje dindi thame bi tunge le tharna se di ning ji di cha do 진짜 닝지 딘디지 깨용데 아니 다 소소 상계니 상계 주도 다 그제 저게 숨다 리시고 다 그제 저게 숨다 할리 뭐 버려 진짜 제디 닝지 딘디지 깨용니 기승문에 임바이나 디남샤디 차상 아니 그제 저게 숨세 타메거든 돌나 충충 쉽지 차더라 수수기 그제 저게 숨기 딘디 충충 뒤지 통동 다 당신이잖아 딘디지를 깔에 잡체 아니 미치 탐에 동행을 탈토바이나 뒤제 여버도 차이도 먼저 닝지키는 명예도 쓰고 먼저 닝지 충중도 쓰게 아니 다가스 미치다지다 아니 저다고도 고만자테는 테마 투세지래 기시 고만자디테 저 다 코소자 되고에나 디카도래야 가서 때체르도라 나타 드릭테셔서 지라 스스 칼라직 마사야디 가져디 소자 되고에나 디테도 그러봐 다 수서 칼라칭만 코니만이 칼라라고 말해 수서 아니 디 마세나 칼라 뒤지라 마도 경라고 말해라나 디에 인지시라면은 섬다기로 왔다 다 소잡 이렇게 시험데 디나 신식이 수수കള이 제디기 수수기 빼는 미치 니마치 칼라 마사야디기 미갸동 틸 칼라라기를 나바이나 양어서 디 제토고도 심슈디 체로 저도도 저 딘디지기 하게 인지의 개념 다 심지 탐지 과탐의 동의를 제가 세로데 레차비 제라 상계나 다 심지 다타 타큐밍이 다 티품사야도 디 탐지 제도 딘디 과에 때도 타르고도 딘디기 섬로도 거려온데 깔레제들이야 깔레기 뒤시킨 끼가 봐 뭐제다나 미수지 제모 통해지 제인자 다 제주세버리 깔레 시월자극의 세마다 제주세버 거는 셈나라라 깔레 이미 처음 큰 끼가 봐 다디 인지디 슈
So, with regard to what has been explained and will also be again explained in the future here, when you talk about compassion, compassion here, great compassion is directed at sentient beings, wishing them to overcome samsara, wishing them to be free from samsara. Now, samsara has existed since beginningless time. So, since beginningless time, sentient beings have been reborn as humans, as animals, as preta beings, etc. Again and again, without any beginning. And if we ourselves are unable if we ourselves, in our own case, or our own samsara, having existed since beginningless time, if we are not able to comprehend, to realize the Four Noble Truths, if we are not able to realize emptiness and so forth, then with regard to our future samsara, it will go on endlessly. There will be no end to samsara. But likewise, not just that, not only will we experience samsara endlessly in the future, but also other sentient beings. All other sentient beings, if we're unable to understand emptiness, etc., and we will not become a Buddha, then all sentient beings will endlessly continue on to experience suffering. So, thus, when we think about it, becoming a Buddha, what is necessary to become enlightened? It is necessary to accumulate merit for 3 countless eons. So initially there is a sense that this is a really long time, that this requires a lot of effort. But if we compare it to endless suffering in samsara, endless suffering in the future, then this accumulation of merit is actually very little from the point of view of effort, from the point of view of time. Accumulating merit for 3 countless eons is just a short time in comparison, having for just one sentient being, just one person. If we're able to avoid one person having to experience samsara limitlessly in the future, then this is nothing, these 3 countless eons. So this is a little bit like if you have two people, one person doesn't have any compassion and one person has little compassion. So a person with little compassion telling the person who has no compassion, give 100 rupees, give something. So in that case, it may be that this person who has no compassion, what they may give is actually just a mouthful of food. So a mouthful of food, they may give that to the other person. They may give this to the person who requires some food. So they're actually just giving a morsel of food, just a little bit of food. But the result of that is great with regard to the future, having a great result in the future. And a person who has no compassion would actually be thinking, well, that's nothing. That's nothing to give them a handful or a mouthful of food, the kind of food that they would fit into a mouth. Just giving that, they would think this is nothing. So likewise here, from the point of view, so if you give some food, you will get 100-fold result, 1,000-fold result, etc. So with regard to all sentient beings here, if we have this motivation, if we have great compassion directed at all sentient beings, then we are able to, and if we engage in the necessary practice, then we're able to avert limitless future suffering for all sentient beings. So then when understanding that otherwise if we don't become a Buddha, that's what sentient beings would have to experience, we would think there's no problem. There's a sense there's no real problem having to work for 3 countless eons. So therefore, so this is why when we see bodhisattvas, when we perceive bodhisattvas as ordinary beings, there's a sense they're working so hard. What they're doing seems impossible. But actually, from the perspective of a bodhisattva, having understood that although they have to work so hard for such a long period of time, they're able to avert the amazing suffering that sentient beings would otherwise experience, therefore they think it's very easy. There's a sense of great ease. And there's no sense of difficulty engaging in the bodhisattva's action.
The dinner shinchigi, any Chamniji Chanjusim Digi, Sonam Shuchi Satu, and Digi, any Kenchini, any Shiti Dise to go res. She needed the Tajumba Chamniji Chanjusim Mingi to say Kalba the Kalbi the Tony and Nevershane, Shiti say to go over. The Chamniji Chanjusim make him short or res, this Sungur. That Shiti says I will cheddar, any Peggy Kasugore, that is a lingin kitchen months men and the desert how do they. She says a chela and Sanjay that teaching shunis, Kitchen only. She says a chela, Kunotoba Meva Charter. Bezil. That Bezumena and it should the tributary Kadresita, Nakala Tawayana, that should Tamen on Lord Sharon and Shinchiki. Simjins round the Gavats and become the conduit by sharing. Chijata Sanjay Chigran, Kashida and Rapshungi number, Kashila Chimbi number, Kashila Me number, Kashila Thai number, Kashila Pui number, Kashila Pumi number, Chicha do Kala Kandu the Shadow Guris. Kala Campana, Kala Kandichi, Kandichi Penguin, did not the Shadow Guris. This Shadow Megi, Kupchatso di Monom, Simji Kala Campema, Teta de la Shadow Juji, that Monom di Wangi. A Monom lady, Tikijamale, Tik de la Monom Gitigare. Monom said, Deva. The Simjian Pembi Samba. The Kajil Ladaji and the Jaminji Horareta. Jaminji Diwangi, the Simjian indigenous Pember shows, indigenous Pember shows in Monomdi, 다 숙청을 깨운데잖아요. 디왕기 주버레스. 다 더드나 산제를 윤데 어디 쉐고 다 신면제기 디창만기 자와 유나면에 규유나면에디 아니 잠니지 자주 생기 왕기 모나무 왕기 나고 아래 모나무 세디 잠니지 자주 생기 차디고 아래 어디 왕기 주버시고 아래 양라 단치네 모나무도 주비 교디 캡텐디 소남데고 아래 소나데미 미 선반남 장 주라디 소노 슈치고이나 선대 사무 주그릴라디 모나무도 주비 캡텐 소남데라고 아래 소남데 양 잠니지 자주 생기 사고 디메나 소놈 기니 자치모데 사도고 다 그러지 얘네 걸 가르치네 산지기 세이 윤데 때 키버진 신데지 윤데 키버지 참마 주중이디 점이지 정신 차리고
Likewise, with regard to love and compassion, one is able to accumulate great virtue. So there's an extensive virtue one is able to accumulate, and through that one is able to overcome, that is to eliminate cognitive obscurations or obscurations to omniscience. So hearers and solitary realizers, whatever merit that they accumulate, so because of them not having love, compassion, bodhicitta, missing those, so their virtue, however great their merit is, it will not be sufficient in order to eliminate cognitive obscuration. So love, compassion, and bodhicitta, in combination with accumulating virtue and so forth, for a bodhisattva, leads to the elimination of cognitive obscurations. And once those cognitive obscurations have been eliminated, so here Geshe-la says, well, without really an extensive explanation, it may be difficult to understand. But once one has eliminated cognitive obscurations that are obscurations to omniscience, so once one has attained the state of the Buddha, then there's no longer any motivation. There's no longer any motivation wanting to benefit others, no longer any effort. So one effortlessly benefits others. There's no need for a motivation that arises or that needs to arise to benefit others. So it's like it's similar to the moon in the sky being reflected in the body of water. So in a similar fashion, a Buddha will effortlessly emanate in whichever way is necessary for sentient beings. So whether they emanate, whether they appear as celestial beings, as human beings, as animals, as men, as women. So whatever is beneficial to sentient beings, in whichever way their appearance or their emanation benefits sentient beings, in that way they appear, in that way they emanate. And that is through the power of prayer. So through the power of prayer, that at the time of being a bodhisattva, at that time, by engaging in the power of prayer, then later on as Buddhas, they're able to emanate spontaneously in whichever way is needed. And here prayer does not refer to the words, does not refer to the words one recites, but it basically refers to the wish to benefit others. In other words, it refers to love, compassion, and bodhicitta. So the wish, may I be able to help them. So it's through the power of this prayer that one is able to benefit other sentient beings. And there's so much, Buddhas are able to benefit sentient beings in so many different ways. There's so many various ways in which Buddhas are able to work for the welfare of sentient beings. And the root for being able to do so is their love, compassion, and their bodhicitta. And then again, it also says that with regard to prayer, the fact that a prayer is fulfilled, well, that is due to merit. It is due to merit. So as it says in the scripture, a person who possesses merit will have all their wishes fulfilled. So this basically says, this is based on the idea that so prayers are fulfilled if there is merit. But again, how do we accumulate merit? And again, it's love, compassion, and bodhicitta. By cultivating love, compassion, and bodhicitta, we accumulate great merit, which then leads to the fact that our prayers are fulfilled. So basically, all good qualities, in the way just explained, they're the results of love, compassion, and bodhicitta, those states of mind.
但是你要有基础的资粮， 还是要回过头来，要靠慈悲心，因为你慈悲心才能够累积你的自我。所以总而言之，你今天成佛之后，你得到种种圆满功德。你之所以能够承办这种圆满功德，它最根本的原因，最终的原因都是来自于慈悲心。
산지 수능 로라야 딘디요레 삼지 미체비 니스 딘데 다 지금이지 라네 괴메도 기스 수술로라 마밤다 아니 쿠라마탄 타뇽 샤샤나 디기르와 좋아 야 쿠라탄나 야 베베고 수술 정으로와.
So likewise, there are a few explanations from the Buddha himself which are actually inconceivable, some inconceivable explanations here. So if you don't have faith in them, and Geshe-la will share some of those with you, but if you don't have faith in those, at least you shouldn't denigrate them. You shouldn't kind of put them down, but rather just leave them kind of neutrally, without kind of generating like or dislike, just leaving them in a neutral kind of fashion.
지당 파게 남지 주주된세 두서 주주 문시신 주당의 띵진 또 주벌 신내다 선생님 사동다 신내 선생님 무시다 도신 주당 숨겨 디나신 나기 슈나 로레 레소타미나 뭐 숨겨 이내다나 양대기 또 나로라 준내디 가르쳐 놓으세나 아니 서치 아니 준내디 가서 계획하려다가 자가 계획하려 페디 아니 때라 파게 전다 지기지 아니 좀내 때라 매버서야 된다라 랑칭님보 당지 랑칭 독칭보다 마지도 뒤치야지 대 가르샤 니모모보 아니 디니모디 사기 페거도 될 당지 뒤치디잖아 아니 랑칭디 딱 용도잖아 아니 결혼시다 다 타바마토니 결혼시다 참모페 타바마토니는 다 마페니 근거 가지고 그래 다 같이 다 신다 띵이라고 그래 막다기도 다 도시 딜레온데 자네 랑첸디다 틸레온데 아니 점된디기 아니 차도 스나바다 아니 차네 싱기도 다 대버 나주지 대용제 아니 디기 나와디 샤니 아니 랑첸디 저신 저저디 자네 타기디 메버로통 저사마라 안 타만들레 다스 사제 약쇼드거디 점된디기 뒤는마도 신다 시시와요스 다 디메버통네 소유호제 점된디기 틸라 and to state in the Jari Mudusana Yore. And the Jumnedi Chesum. And Dine and the Langin Kina Shiji, Jumnendi Kawa Pebesa, Jugoche, or Tindigi, Luigi Yore. And the young and the Shula and Jumnedi Lord to this and Tapons of Langin Shorogigota, Digidi and Jari Gaesera, Jumnedi like you want to Pesawata, Langin Motor Parata Jari. 랑첸디 좀내디 마체로 기부메버제 코라코라 너무 코라 도지당 신에 살리기 기제여 다 강들든지 진짜 되게 나로라 아니 대체 아니 얘기 아니 코라 잡고 뭐 대더기 아니 코라 나왔더니 샤르레스 그 뒤줘야지 딩이징이 주주 때에 아니 나기 니버지 딘디송면도 년태나로라 잡고 샤야 되게 아니 코라 나왔더니 샤르레스 딘디송.
So in general, when we talk about kind of magical emanations, being able to engage in kind of magical feats or supernatural kind of having supernatural powers, many of those, or they mainly come from the meditation on calm abiding, or on the different kind of concentrations, being able to attain any of the concentrations and so forth. So this is also similar. For instance, in the tantric scriptures, they also talk about that generating or cultivating single point of concentration that becomes a cause for being able to engage in supernatural activities. But in the Nirvana Sutra, there's a story that explains the cause for supernatural power slightly differently. So here it talks about that at one time the Buddha went to a place where together with all the bhikkhus, to a place where they tried to challenge the Buddha by way of a competition of they wanted to kind of challenge the Buddha and by way of a kind of competition here with regard to the different powers that the Buddha had and other beings had. And at that time, the people who challenged the Buddha, they kept a great wild elephant. So they first imprisoned the elephant so that it became really wild and unruly. And then they let the elephant free when the Buddha approached, when the Buddha arrived. And so of the followers of the Buddha, the bhikkhus, those who hadn't attained liberation yet, they all ran away. So it said that actually only Asanga was the one who stayed with the Buddha. So anyway, the Buddha, as the elephant, the charging elephant, ran towards him, the wild animal and elephant charged towards him, the Buddha held up his hand, and from the palm of his hand, he emanated 5 or 6 lions. So when these lions, when the elephant saw the lions, upon seeing them, he turned around and tried to escape. But there was nowhere to escape. He found no way to escape. So instead, therefore, he became calm and basically lay to the feet of the Buddha, kind of respectfully laid at the feet of the Buddha. And the Buddha then thereafter gave him teachings, and he received teachings from the Buddha himself. And it said that this elephant became like a dog that was following around the Buddha all the time. And then later on it said that when the Buddha left this place, since he had to continue traveling and couldn't take the elephant along, they put a cage. He was encaged. The elephant was kind of kept from being able to follow the Buddha around. And out of desperation, he hit his trunk repeatedly against the gate, and eventually he died. But he was reborn in the celestial realms. And at that time, the Buddha explained that the fact he was able to subdue the elephant was due to his love. It was due to his familiarity, having meditated, having familiarized his mind with love. That was the reason for that he was able to subdue the elephant. So they didn't talk about mantras that he was able to recite, any kind of other causes that gave rise to the ability to subdue the elephant, but rather he said it was due to his love. So likewise, there are a lot of stories which are just as weird or just as amazing, where the Buddha was able to manifest amazing feats, amazing activities, and he always explained, well, those are the results of meditating on love and compassion. Those are the results of meditating on love. Those are the results of meditating on love, and so forth. So likewise in Tibet, one of the Kadamba geshes was Geshe Langdamba. So it is said that he had generated bodhicitta in his mental continuum.
and Pugu Tindachi to Chevy, Shima, and those Chesaning is the Cheo Kesons, Condanas, and Pugu the partition. That's also several chitty over.
So it is said that the Bodhisattva having generated, so this Geshe Langdamba, so who had bodhicitta, so authentic bodhicitta, so at some point someone came to him, some person came to him, so he was a monk, he himself was a monk, and so gave teachings, etc. So at that time, a person approached, a lady approached Geshe Langdamba, and he said, he gave him a little boy, and he said, please take this child, please accept this child. And so the Geshe Langdamba said, okay, it's okay, I'll accept this child. So it's your child, so this is your so this is your child. So actually implied in that is that he has a child and he's not actually a monk any longer. So he's actually not a monk. And he was like, okay, that's all right. And he accepted the child without getting angry. He accepted the child. And then one of the sponsors, one of the sponsors of Geshe Langdamba, he came, a lady, she approached him, and then Geshe Langdamba said, please, you take, so at that time he gave the child on to this lady who was one of the sponsors, and told the lady, please take the child from me. And the lady accepted, okay, I'll take the child. But then after some time, after about a week, she had some divination done. And it turned out that if the child were to stay with her, it would die if it were to stay with her. And instead, the child should remain with the High Lama. And so the sponsor gave the child back to Geshe Langdamba, and Geshe Langkamba, he gave him back to Geshe Langkamba, and he said, okay, I just accepted very patiently the child back.
That dine Tawakashi Chela, that shoe Ningasama Meva Chatsali. Mikyoji, then the Junga Zoina, and an art in the chair, and Dinamdo, usually Lugo said the time in the loot in Shigoro. Tinjig Wajikat, Chichen Rabotina, the sun watching, Rabo the ten, and it's with that is a Kekayama, Dinalo Yigichirachi, Yigi not in the Mali. Nangtama, Chanju Sema Yimbe, Chuche Palo, she said. Chesa ko Chanju Sendi, the Niboteji, that the Lujuma would not take it on. In a also each year,
So why Geshe is saying he's telling the story? Well, it's because actually in connection with Geshe Langkamba, there's another incident when at some point there was great danger of flooding in a specific place. There was danger that a flood would occur. And so the local people placed all their hopes in Geshe Langkamba, was thinking he has such special power, and they requested him therefore to do something so that their area was not flooded. And Geshe Langkamba, he took a yak horn and he closed it and told people to place it in the ground where the area should remain dry. And after they had done so, this horn was placed in the soil, was placed in the ground. And when the water came, when the actual flood occurred, the water went around the horn, or around the area where the horn was buried. And some month later, after the water had subsided, and there was no longer any danger, someone remembering that this horn was underneath the earth was thinking, well, I should retrieve this, because oftentimes when tantric masters do some rituals, they leave precious substances in whatever they buried. So with this in mind, with this hope in mind, he went to the place where the horn was buried, and he retrieved it, and upon opening the enclosure, he opened it, and all he found was a letter. There was nothing in there, it was just a letter. And it basically says that through the power of me having bodhicitta, of me being a bodhisattva, water, go around. So you, water, move around. So there's nothing more than that. But so for us it's difficult, these stories are difficult to believe, but there are many stories like that, that through the power of being a bodhisattva, having bodhicitta, that certain events take place and is able to influence certain situations.
제가 산지 나도 산지 찾을 누구 쉬어요 그게 시디 누구디 점인지 더 용거에 시디 다 점인지 가서 점인지 깨비 새로운 깨비 세디 좀만 이마 랑기 랑기 깨나 점인지 새로운 깨스케지 해요 제 깨차비 제래 단달래 공부가 그래서 누구 치료 담을 다 이제 파기 퍼진다 다 파기 뒤서 맞아 퍼진다 로트인 타고 되게 뒤치 domnia dom kya tangchen chewa ina chamnyingji ma jebadi jebarche je sajo de ene shubdi chiru tangde ene phusum tsoro chini niba chiru chindin chegi niba di chiru chini tara ene chamnyingji niba di yongsu tsoyonde ene sangje si ming dasha jo dindi tabshi de yore.
So therefore, in order to becoming a Buddha, someone who has a Buddha, who has become a Buddha, who has become enlightened, has incredible potential, has incredible capacity to benefit others. And this is because this is the result of the practice of love and compassion. So it is only due to love and compassion that Buddhas have these special abilities to benefit others. And so, when we talk about love and compassion, initially it is contrived love and compassion. They arise in a practitioner's continuum. So it doesn't arise spontaneously, but it's contrived. It needs effort, and then eventually, through repeated familiarity, one's love and compassion become uncontrived. In other words, they arrive spontaneously and effortlessly. But even then, so once one has this authentic love and compassion in one's continuum, one still needs to enhance. One needs to enhance these states of mind, make them stronger, increase their capacity. So usually, as part of the study of monastics, one studies the Prajnaparamita Sutras for about 6 or 7 years. So one studies what's called Parshin or Prajnaparamita Sutras. So in order to summarize those 6 or 7 years of studies, one can summarize them in the following way. Initially, one needs to generate love and compassion. And once love and compassion have been generated, then they need to be made stronger. Love and compassion need to be enhanced, need to be made stronger for the benefit of other sentient beings. One needs to enhance them further. Until one completes the cultivation of love and compassion. One has reached the complete state where they can no longer be enhanced. So that is the state of a Buddha. So basically, those 6 or 7 years of the study of Parjin can be summarized into those. First generating love and compassion, then increasing them, and then finalizing them.
제자다 니지 슈치르 땅라도 딘딜라네 디도 맞죠 다 제와데지 유사딜레나 세기 다 베나 딘디다고 용초로 허트가다나 다 참을 제와다다 유에 삼사지 무슨도 하마공이 미카시지유나 다 디게딜 제와 치중 수수기에 하마고야 되는데 치중 지부이 삼사지 다 나세 바게 다 베나 베샤도 제이나 지금 고문자 다 제가 키는 메시지 고문자 제 표현하러 chile gyatene pansim kyune menge ene pansme ba chigba ine ya mi shanda chile tong te na te tungi chile tong te ma tungi chile ti te tungi chile ya tong ma to ti te ma tungi o de zi jang de ene musse de bo te wo da shu chi jone ko de da la kale jam la ba ina ni ma chi kale jam da tiksare da ma ja to za ma le ji ya dil tsewa chewa yo sa ji na ko de da la da wa ji kale jam inda yin ne logically ja to za ma le se ya ko de da la na logically ja to za le se ya do 지디 나 세기다 숙치지 먹고 싶다. 다 디지도 전에 아니 디디치네 다 난가 마세기 봐도 갈래 잡고 주네 잡 세지 다 심지 디도다. 디디지 레고 다 센띵네. 디에다 다시 우연히서 요에 매를 마도 계시 요에이나 베티코나 깔바다 깔비 봐도 다 매나다 동이 용거 좀 봐이네. 계시 심지 지부디 타러체나 동에리 타러체나 인데 세지 다 심슈 디디지 레고 와다. 딘디 강제 딘디지 심슈도 요소 좋은데 이 신의 상계세야 돼.
So therefore it's important to increase one's love. So initially with regard to a caring attitude, so having a caring attitude, having loving kindness, having a caring attitude with regard to others, well, upon first sight it may seem that one has equal love towards sentient beings. One has an equal loving kindness or kind-heartedness with regard to others. So on first sight, there doesn't really seem to be a difference when one focuses on sentient beings. However, then when it comes down to actually benefiting others, there's a difference. So with regard to some, one is able to give them 100 rupees. And then maybe with regard to another person, one is able to give them 1,000 rupees. But one is not able to give to the first person 1,000 rupees. So one is not able to give to one person, one can only give 100 rupees. To another person, one can only give 1,000 rupees. To the next person, one may not be able to give 10,000, but one may be able to give 1,000 rupees. So in that way, one is not able to give a lot of money to some, one is able to give more to others. So one is partial with regard to what one can give. So it makes it obvious here that one regards some as more precious, one regards others as closer, and therefore is able to give to them more as opposed to giving to others. And likewise, with regard to working for someone, with regard to one person, one may say, okay, this person I can help for a day, but not for 1 month. And then another person, it is easy to help this person for 1 month, but maybe not for a year. And then a third person one may be able to not just help for a month, but help an entire year. But actually, usually with regard to the kind of love and compassion one should generate here, this kind of love and compassion is such that one feels as long as space endures, I will work for the benefit of all sentient beings. So it's not there's no limit in terms of time that one would work for the benefit of another person. So right now we lack the methods to benefiting others. We lack the method and means to really benefit other sentient beings. But if we had those means, then even if we had to work for countless eons to solve the problem of one sentient being, we would go, of course I do this. So there'd be no question asked. So therefore, it is therefore through this love and compassion that one makes an effort and then eventually attains the state of the Buddha.
舍得出这一时间，所以那如果说你今天要持续跟未见之智，你都要努力来利益众生的时候呢，那这种慈悲心的力量就是非常非常强，心是非常强大的。那你们就是劫富一劫就是一劫过一劫，那你即便是你必须要在那个非常炎热的火当中，你要去受苦，你也甘愿受这个苦。你的目的就是为了以后能够常伴。这个能够解救呢，即便只是一位众生的痛苦也好，我希望也具备这种能力，能够来解除众生的痛苦。那这种心力，这种对生命的慈悲力，大到一个最究竟的程度的时候呢，大到一个圆满程度的时候，就是成果了。
那这个眼一给这些当的先切回呢，说能在前面不是找的，是吧？ 신발을 때네 내선이 세이 론주 추중의 때네 어디게 시작인자 진비 버지 추중이 버진다 버지 친 주디 전에
So therefore, as explained before, with regard to marriage or with regard to the paramitas. So here, first one completes the paramita of generosity, or one completes the paramita of morality, or in other words, one completes the 6 paramitas, one finalizes them, and becomes a Buddha, reaches the state of a Buddha. So therefore, with regard to the 6, down to love, compassion, and bodhicitta, that is the root of all happiness. That is the actual precious jewel. So from the point of view of the law of karma, these are the root of everything. So then, who provides this jewel? It depends on whom do we get this jewel? And the answer is sentient beings. It's in dependence and reliance on sentient beings. So it's actually due to sentient beings, therefore. So sentient beings, because they do not want to experience suffering, therefore they take us to generating compassion. So it is through them that we generate compassion. The fact that they do want to be happy, that leads us therefore to generate love, the wish for them to be happy. So again, they're responsible for us to generate love. Likewise, it is through those needy ones that they enable us. It's those needy ones who enable us to complete the practice of generosity. And then the fact that all sentient beings wish to be happy, do not wish to suffer, that enables us to complete the practice of morality. So therefore, everything we do, it's through the accumulating virtue, any kind of virtue, it is through sentient beings. Without sentient beings, we would not be able to accumulate those. So anything we do, we're reborn as, if one accumulates, or if one takes, for example, the table, if I were to say, it will not engage in harmful actions with regard to the table, I will not hit the table, that will not take us to be reborn in any of the higher states. But it's rather independent on sentient beings. I will not hit sentient beings, I will not engage in violence with regard to sentient beings. That will lead to us being born in higher states and eventually attain the state of a Buddha. Likewise, with regard to patience, in order to complete the practice, the paramita of patience, again, we need someone who harms us. We need harmful beings. We need abusers, beings who abuse us. It's not our relatives and our friends who are usually abusing us or harming us. So we need those harmful living beings that enable us to complete our practice of patience. So therefore, our practice of patience leads to the state of happiness. And then likewise with regard to concentration and wisdom, actually concentration and wisdom, it doesn't mean that when one practices concentration and wisdom, that one only concentrates on emptiness. Well, because without sentient beings, one's practice would not be complete. So in order to make the practice of concentration and wisdom complete, one needs sentient beings. So in this way, sentient beings are extremely precious, for they take us to Buddhahood. They enable us to attain the temporary higher states, as well as the final state of full enlightenment. So in that way, we should understand the importance and the preciousness of all sentient beings.
다 디다 권한 강에 위에 된 것은 인지 고문이 파기 파고는 게르마도 권한 것들이 깨 죽어서 게 말와서 근데 서로 벌새기로 와.
But we may think, well, it's because they have problems, therefore we cultivated compassion. It's not that they made us generate or cultivate compassion. So that thought may arise, that kind of question may arise. That kind of doubt may arise.
무슨 인지께로 전달되는 동영용 6개 말와서 디탱으로 하다.
So they're not thinking, oh, may this person have compassion, may they cultivate compassion. So this thought doesn't arise, may they not, that they wish for us to have compassion.
이는 거랑 이 모시한번 나오라 같이 책인데 표시 책이다. 부고 주방에 맡은데 나 부고 뒤에 뱉대 거랑 앞에 샘제기 시주서를 써야 되거든. 봐보세요. 샘제기 시주서를 부고 뒤 써야 되거든. 마 샘제 랑주고도 써야 되거든. 오늘 전에 부고 뒤 아마 샘제 나오러 지나 되는 주방에 뭐지 줘도 말아. 되는 주방 딜러 때는 샘제 랑기 요인자 마 샘제 랑주고도 써야 되거든. 마 콘도 많아 써야 되거든. 딜러기도. 파저디가 콘도 사러 지나 되는 대요 말아다. 내 기대게 기와를 샤샤네. 근데 마 콘도 많아 쓰이다. 마 콘도 랑주고도 쓰이도. 근데 콘도 랑바다 세마 기회建议 다시 발해다 되는 용기 요인자 같이 뉴버 차야 되는 요. 다 뒤가 아니요 죽서를 써야 되거든. 뒤가 다시 팔 주고도 쓰이는 비지 지기도. 다 전화디 요쇼고에나 파저디를 지고 지냐. 다 심지 디기 코랑기 삼로 요네 메네 디 메나 닝지 디게메 지미 벌진 조야메 디 깽기 용기 요인자 아닌지 게중에래 정말 게중에래 장주선 게중에래 아니 벌진 조 중에래 디 인디선에 초진에다 라마다 산제다 디게디 모서로 로바체레 초진에다 제가 라마군적으로 로바체레 제가 심지기 제어다 로바징에 수산제 중에 산제 중에다.
So, but in actuality, we say, for example, Geshe-la says some of his companions or some of his mates, they would say, well, with regard to, or his acquaintances, they would say, well, this child gives me a lot of trouble, gives me a lot of headaches, this child gives me a lot of worry. So it's not really that this child is actually making the parents worry in the sense like, may they worry, but it's due to their behavior that then worry arises. So this child gives me a lot of worry, in other words. Or we say, for example, for instance, we get angry because of that person. This person makes me really angry. It's not really that they create our anger, but we say they make me really angry. And we also say, don't get angry with me. On account of me, don't get angry. Or don't have anger arise, basically. So again, it's not really saying that that the other person kind of created our anger, but the other person serves as a condition for the anger to arise. And then also when we get angry, sometimes our blood pressure arises and we get kind of crazy. Some people get almost like crazy. So we say, this other person is making me crazy. They're making me crazy. Actually, it's not that they're actually making us crazy. So if we can say it that way, if we say it's appropriate on a worldly level or on a by way of using language, if we can say the other person makes me angry or creates worry, etc. We can also say that the other person creates love and compassion in my continuum. So it works in the same way. It's due to the other person, it's due to sentient beings that love and compassion arise, that bodhicitta arise, that we practice the 6 paramitas. So usually we say it is due to the Lama. The Lama plays a great part in one's practice. But it's actually that the Lama plays a part, that half of the part comes from the Lama, half of the assistance comes from the Lama, and the other half is the assistance from sentient beings. So we need both, the Lama and sentient beings. We need both of their assistance. So, therefore it says in Shantideva's Bodhisattva way of life, if sentient beings and lamas are equally responsible for one's enlightenment, why does one not pay equal respect to sentient beings? So this is what it says in that text. So likewise, when we say with regard to giving, so when we say, so in this way, with these words, what they say is basically that sentient beings basically have come to give love and compassion to me. So we can basically say this, therefore, they have come to give love to me. They have come to give compassion to me. They have come to give the perfection or the paramita of generosity to me. They have come to give me the paramita of morality and so forth. So basically, therefore, by having given that to us, they've actually come to give me temporary happiness and the ultimate happiness or the ultimate state. So for instance, when we say someone gives us something, such as a house, there are two ways in which someone can give us a house. One way would be to buy the house, that the person who gives us the house buys the house himself and gives it to us, presents it to us. Or another way to give us a house would be to estimate the value of the house and then just give us the money for the house. So here, basically that which takes us to enlightenment are love and compassion. That's like the money for the house. And who gives us the money for the house? Who gives us love and compassion? It's sentient beings. So basically, sentient beings give us the state of a Buddha by giving us the money, that is love and compassion, that take us So therefore, many bodhisattvas are like that. So for instance, there's a story of the bodhisattva. There's the story of the bodhisattva who was the earlier continuum of the Buddha. So it was the Buddha Shakyamuni at the time when he was a bodhisattva. So at some point when he was a bodhisattva, there was a king who cut off his limbs, his arms and his legs. And so the bodhisattva, who later became Buddha Shakyamuni, so the bodhisattva, he practiced patience. So as a result of having his limbs cut off, he practiced patience. And he dedicated his situation. He said whatever, so his patience, he dedicated it to the king. He said, due to you having cut off my limbs, may in the future, may this lead to you having your afflictions being cut off. So this prayer that the Bodhisattva engaged in, it may have been, from one point of view, due to the power of his love and his compassion for the king. But in a way, it's actually appropriate that he gives him, that he dedicates the benefit to him, that he basically shares the profit with him. In the sense that, on one hand, there was the Bodhisattva received the harm of having his limbs cut off, but on the other hand, he also had the opportunity to practice patience. And since he dedicated it to his own enlightenment, his practice of patience, since he dedicated it to the state of enlightenment, that became the cause of his own Buddhahood. So therefore, the abuse by the king, in combination with the Bodhisattva practicing patience, became the cause of his own enlightenment. So that is the profit here, basically. So for the Bodhisattva, his own enlightenment, Krishna says, for example, if you're a salesperson, if you're a businessman, and you have two parties that give you a profit, you have to share the profit. So here, in the case of engaging in the business, that would be, you have two parts that enables you to engage in the business. It's the harm by the king plus the practice of patience. And the profit is enlightenment. So in the same way, as a business person, when you have a capital, you would share it. You would share it with the other person. You give a part. You give a part to the person who's has helped you with your business. You give part of the profit to that person. So likewise here, the king in a way has benefited the Bodhisattva, has benefited the Bodhisattva by way of cutting off his limbs. And so from the side of the Bodhisattva came the practice of patience, from the side of the king came the harm. So now in that way there is some right, the king had a right to actually reap some kind of benefit. And anyhow, later the Bodhisattva was reborn as Kunji Godinya, sorry. So he was born as Kunji and so forth.
제자 돈이 저거이 리버야 보이나 리버 뉴뉴치 셴네 코다 수부지 수모 수지마도 다 되고도 다 디나 신이나 돈이나 그 자체 뭐 쉐고도 다 리버 너버지 거래마도 다 단다디나 다 수지 디지털 저 중에 심지들에서 다 삼로디 뉴슈지 되고 거라 오늘 딩니 코레지 쉐고라 근데 레다오면도 디딩니 코레라 내 남샤디기 신고도 산지 계제도 신고도 산지 디 용해디 지소 프로젝트 줄을 때요 되게 참아 신이 아니 신에 맡아마들 아니 디 맞바네 아니 니버디 태고에 차는데 너좀 자치 뭐지 맞제나 아니 책되다 책통도 디 니버디 태는다.
So therefore, with regard to emptiness, if someone is intelligent, it is not necessary to give vast explanations in order to understand emptiness, in order to understand selflessness. However, on the other side, with regard to this idea here, with regard to love, compassion, and so forth, it is important to give very extensive explanations. So, brief, profound explanation is not sufficient. One has to be able to provide a lot of extensive explanation. So in order to develop this capacity, in order to develop the capacity with regard to love and compassion, which are not easy, one needs to gain an understanding of the law of karma, of the Buddha, of the state of Buddhahood, that Buddhahood is possible, that it's possible to reach that state. One needs to have an understanding of the 6 paramitas. So therefore, in order to get to that kind of understanding, one needs to study all these different aspects of the path. So thus one needs to study the extensive, in order to engage in the method side of Buddhism, one needs to gain extensive understanding, extensive knowledge or extensive comprehension.
자 딘데지니 균도 삼라 당연지나 아니 바게 치료를 저디 심지 순저지 통바이네 준주단다 시신이구나 소요 미기 심지 다나 양스 다 책지 다다 마저네 케메도 심지 디다니나 때네 가사 때네 다 상기니도 주로시 자신 잡비츠기 다 생이사 딘데지 간다 다 미기 심지 수토네 다 심지 디게들 때네 내가 상기 그랬어 mas la dangine la ta dige ding la sanje ko te ga yong ge da dige ding ma sang ge chung ge da dige ding ne ga da ta du gi dige tum je ta chung ge da sin du shi dige to ne sim ji su tu ba yin du shi di kin di ji go res chi lo cho du le.
So in this way, the way one should think what leads one to think is the following. So whenever one goes outside, so this is also something that is explained in the chapter on introspection from the Bodhisattva's way of life. So here it says that when one goes outside, whichever sentient being one encounters, this will become the cause of one's own enlightenment. So in other words, there's a sense, whoever one encounters, whoever one meets upon going outside, there's a sense, oh, this sentient being will become the cause, will take me to my own enlightenment. Or to express it in different words, this sentient being has come to take me to enlightenment. This is the cause, or this person has come to now take me to the state of enlightenment. This person has come to take me to the temporary state of happiness and the ultimate state of happiness, the enlightened state of the Buddha.
다 딘디지니 제와이나 아니 미 가지 마마 투이 책이 아니 되게야 점진진이 버치를 도샤라.
So in that way, the more people one meets, the greater one's love and compassion will become.
지단다 딘디지니 바게 따야디 지단 디게디 수솔 바게 단다민저고 라에 치도되게 말이디 이네 따단 딘디지기 토네 심진에 따야디기 산지기 송신다지 나로라 도기 첸디 테마스 가리오레스나 아니 잠베토다 따단 디로다 따단 디기 미 딘디기 따위 디기 나미시와타 텔라테네 모험만나 사이비기 무시도 그래 송도 아니 미소솔 시시 땅도잖아요 디 땅도 내셔라 소고고 디기 아니 모험만나 사이 나미 무시도 그랬어 어떻게 송
So in general, it says that in dependence on that, even though one doesn't actually have the wish to have any kind of personal benefit, to experience some kind of fruitional benefit for oneself, but nonetheless, it is said that with regard to focusing on sentient beings in such a way, it is said in one of the teachings from the Buddha, in one of the scriptures, by one of the speeches by the Buddhas, or one of the texts by the Buddha, it says that due to love, in dependence on love, one will gain the clairvoyance of the celestial eye. And so due to the love for sentient beings, as a result, one will obtain the clairvoyance of the celestial eye. And by way of other beings scolding one, so as a result of sentient beings scolding oneself, one will, as a result of that, attain the clairvoyance of the celestial ear. If one has an authentic clairvoyance of the celestial ear, one will be able to listen to teachings in other realms where the Buddhas are teaching. One is able to listen to the teachings of the Buddha by way of that clairvoyance or through this clairvoyance.
제가 라만다 같이 와나지 딜라티니 제가 라이다에 뭐시 두그리라는 계속 내 지그러 와. 디나시 시시 당지 전에 다 딜라티니 라이다에 뭐시 두그러. 사실은 지지.
So when the Lama is during an initiation ceremony, doing an initiation, when the Lama says, so in dependence on that, you will attain the clairvoyance of the celestial ear. One says, oh, I take refuge in you, one thanks the Lama. So therefore, when one gets scolded, one should also thank the Lama, because this becomes a cause of getting that clairvoyance. So one should offer a mandala, one should make a mandala offering to the Lama as a result of getting scolded.
제가 별로 감기 좋아를 해요. 라마지 지동구제다 주주리지니 디바다 미포바다 라마도서는 다다에 된지 리굴지 다르로 디디가라네 라마디 계단제다 미망야 초주 아니 셰셰당 니다당 지거다 어디디 제 애한 슐레다 규로치니 치수 규로치니 양 이마 다정하나 주 두부당배 디제상에도 저야 라마랑자 차도도 디규로 조샤디 거라야 라마라자 차바 아니 라자 차디잖아요 미망부지 디디가라다 시시당 제딩 미망나라 같이 생기고서 말하다 디지디잖아요 디니치디 라마디 고체 니마치 아니 숨지 들어지다 지난서 생각이 춘이 제와 말했어 그래서는 디디가라 아니 다산이 파게 디 이다당그레스라디 아니 쇼베나 보니 야 라제 전지심이 꽝 다산지에 치도 드링이 수고야 냠내야지 선네 꾸노야지 마길데네 다시시 땅 내다당 집에 가다 수고베제 지도고 셈마잉 바치 다다 바니다 땅차 시시 땅차와다 아니 뭐하면 야부지 생이 미시디나로를 기와 역시 디디지 제가 디디인지 견절을 막고 부재정지 또 되고 제스트레스다
So, before in Tibet, in Kham, in the eastern part of Tibet, in Kham, so many of the lamas around 1962, 1963, so during the Cultural Revolution, so at that time, a lot of lamas were abused. So the Chinese government called together the people of the towns and villages, and they then had to abuse the lamas. They had to abuse them, they had to scold them, etc. So they had these kind of sessions. They convened these sessions when, as part of this movement, they had to be abused, etc. And so after that time was over, after the Cultural Revolution, so the lamas thereafter were put in prison. They were in prison, and when they were released, again they had their old status of being a lama again. And a lot of the population, a lot of the people who had previously abused them, who had been forced to abuse and scold the lama, felt really bad about what they had done. And so the lamas then, the one particular lama, so he talked about this during one of the teachings he gave. He said, don't be unhappy about this. Don't be unhappy about having done this to me, because it's actually benefited me. In the sense that they said that before, they knew the session was going to take place, so they knew that the next day or on that day there'd be one of those sessions. So in the morning, early in the morning, when they got up, they generated bodhicitta in their mental continuum. May I be able to practice patience in the sessions, and may this become the cause for me to be enlightened. And then upon the session, when the session took place, when the abuse took place, they were able to practice patience. He was able to practice patience. And afterwards, when the session was over, he dedicated all the merit to his own enlightenment. So therefore he said, this Lama said, this was the best opportunity to practice virtue or to accumulate virtue. So he said, I don't dislike you even a little speckle. I don't even dislike you. I don't even dislike you this much, he said. So therefore be happy. You gave me this opportunity to practice, so be happy.
남자 자stan기 부셔 캠바치 요르라 아니 디 아니 브레셔도 수프레모도 같이 아니 바기 종안으로 취기는 거 슈라 아니 종안에 타네 군인지 같이 되지도 아니 정원을 시 군인이라다 디니 주시도 종안으로 가려가지고 쇼서 되지도 시당 어스도 참나 니가 책이도 니가 레로 책이도 다 가리인다 바기 소도다 디 있는데 아니 니가 가르도 참도 두부시 땅 잠균이 마셔도 장인지냐로 냠르치겠어. 그런 얘기가 들다.
So also there was one monk from Namgyal Monastery in Tibet. So when Tibet lost its freedom, he was an elderly monk and he was unable to flee, to escape from Tibet. And instead he was imprisoned. And then many years later, when he was released, when he came to Dharamsala, he had an audience with His Holiness. And so His Holiness asked him about the situation of how he had fared during the time of imprisonment. And so how much had he suffered, etc. And so the response by this monk was, he said, sometimes there was danger. And so initially it sounded as if danger to his life and so forth, but when His Holiness asked him about what the danger was, he said, well, sometimes when I was beaten, when I was tortured, etc. for a long time, sometimes there was danger I would lose my love and compassion for my torturer. So this was the danger what he considered to be dangerous was losing his own love and compassion.
괜히 송주를 배그래. 송주기 단다 간주를 요새기 다들 쉬고다. 다 저러면 제 배디 같이 있네. 니만 착제 거라. 괜히 차대 나지 애시 디지다. 착제 레셔다. 제 샵에 넣어라. 회사와다 미차가 길이야. 회사 찾다.
So this teacher, this particular teacher, this particular teacher, he usually sits whenever His Holiness gives teachings. So he always sits where the translated works of the Buddha, so the Kangyu, wherever the Kangyu is, he sits near there, near that place. And Geshe-la says, as long as he has witnessed His Holiness coming, he's always seen His Holiness walk up to him, and giving him his hand. So every time His Holiness comes for the teachings, he goes to where this monk sits, where he receives the teachings, gives him his hand, and then he goes on the throne and starts the teaching. Okay. So Geshe-la says we'll have class tomorrow and the day after, and that will then complete the teachings. So 2 more days.